morning, students. Now let us learn what is biology. The term biology is derived from two Greek words, bios and logos. That means the study of living things. As you have already learned the characteristic features of living things, can you recall some of the features? All living things are made up of cells. Yes, that is it. Living things are made up of cells. Then what are cells? Cell is the structural as well as the functional unit of living things. Cell is the structural and functional unit of living things. You look so beautiful. It is because of the presence of cells in your body. Many vital functions like respiration, circulation, digestion are going on in your body. That is also because of the presence of cells. Our body is made up of millions and millions of cells. Based on the number of cells, organisms are divided into two: unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular means organisms that possess only one cell or single cell, whereas multicellular organism means they have many cells within their body. So we all originated from a single cell. All living things arise from a single cell. And that single cell give rise to tissues. Single cell give rise to tissues. And tissue give rise to organ. And many organs together form organ systems. And organ systems assemble together to form an organism. And this is known as level of organization. That is, cell develops into a group of cells together form tissues, and a group of tissues together form organs. A group of organs together form organ systems, and these organ systems assemble together to form an organism. So we are organisms. We are organisms. Now let us see what is a cell. As we know, it is a structural as well as functional unit of cell. Let us learn brief structure. That is, the outer covering of the cell is known as cell membrane. The outer covering of the cell is known as cell membrane. Inner to the cell membrane there is cytoplasm. Inner to the cell membrane there is cytoplasm. Cytoplasm. And in the center there will be a nucleus. Nucleus is the most important part of a cell that we will learn later. Inside the cytoplasm or embedded in the cytoplasm, there are minute structures, specific structures known as organelles, cell organelles. All those things you will learn later. Now let us go back to the tissues. Our topic, tissues. What are tissues? A group of cells performing specific functions are known as tissues. Tissues can be broadly divided into two. What are they? Plant tissues and animal tissues. So animal tissues we will learn in the next class. Now let us learn something about plant tissues. Plant tissues are broadly divided into two. What are they? Meristematic tissue Meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Then, now let us go in detail about meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues are actively dividing cells. Meristematic tissues are actively dividing cells. So, they are found in the growing part of a plant. Do you know which are the growing part of a plant? The growing part of a plant are the tip of the stem, tip of the root. You can see how the root grows. Tip of the root, the bark, etc. So, this cells, the meristematic cells are present in the growing part of a plant because they, as you can see here, see how the stem is growing towards. So, here the meristematic tissues are present. That is why it's growing. See different parts, how it grows. Now, by the time I'll explain to you the characteristic features of meristematic tissues. 1. The cells are small. The cell walls are thin. The nuclei are large and conspicuous. The cell are moved without vacuoles. The cells actively divided to add new cells. The cells actually, so cell wall. What is a cell wall? As I told you earlier, the three basic parts of a cell are cell membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. In plant cells, in addition to these three structures, there will be another structure known as cell wall. And the structure known as cell wall. And the cell wall is present only in plant cell. Then the cytoplasm and nucleus are together known as protoplasm. Protoplasm, you must have learned it last year. This protoplasm forms the physical base of the plant. Now let us see another type of cell, that is the permanent tissues. Permanent tissues. Permanent tissues, as the term indicates, is permanent. It's not undergoing any changes. No cell division in permanent tissues. Now, just see the chart of the plants. Permanent tissues are tissues with a group of cells in which growth has either stopped completely or for the time being. And permanent tissues can be classified into two main types: simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues, according to the function, the simple permanent tissues are of two types. What are they? Protective tissues and supportive tissues. Protective tissues consist of cells with thick walls. They are found on the surface of roots, stems and leaves. Example, epidermis of leaves which secretes a waxy waterproof substance. Then supportive tissues are mainly three categories, that is parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma is composed of large thin walled cells usually with intercellular spaces. These are the living cells and found in the soft part of the plant. And example, potatoes. Potatoes are mainly composed of parenchyma cells. Some parenchyma cells contain chlorophyll for manufacturing of food. The second one is collenchyma, that is made up of cells which are elongated and thick at the corners of edges. And the third one is sclerenchyma. It's composed of long, narrow and thick walled cells. These are dead cells and these tissues provide strength to the plant parts. It is found in stems and veins of the leaves mostly as fibers. This parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma cells will be displayed in your notes, and also I will teach you by drawing it on the board next class. So you write whatever notes are given along with this, prepare well for the next class and do the assignment. Assignment number 1. Assignment number 1 you can note down in your notebook. Now let us. So you have to take a handful of micro-peas. Do you know what a micro-peas? That is present in that will be in your kitchen. Ask your mommy to give you a handful of micro-peas. Soak it in water and observe the growth. You can see the meristematic tissues are actively dividing in the growing parts as it's the root part. Understood? And the stem. So you do one thing. Keep in a or glass tumbler, anything, whatever, wherever you want, you do it, keep it and observe the growth. Record it, and whenever I ask it, you have to submit. Okay, so learn well. If you have any doubts regarding this, you can ask to me at any time. So prepare well, be ready, stay blessed. God bless you. Thank you, children.